Hey, y'all. Thank y'all for waiting for us. We was running a little late. I hope that it ends up being to y'all's enjoyment what we have to talk about. I think we each have a little bit different experience. And without further ado, let me bring on the guests and introduce y'all. First, we have Shooting Gallery New England, my friend and co-host from the Gunsmith Show on Wednesday evenings, who happened to compete in the regional makers match in Massachusetts. How's it going?
What's up? Doing good. Appreciate you having me on. Sorry I didn't make this match. I felt kind of wish I still went.
Yeah, but you know what they say, hindsight's 20/20 and all.
Yeah, have to show this off. Look at that. Look at that.
There you go. Yep, third place. Not too shabby.
Mm.
And bringing in our next guest, first time guest to the channel, hasn't been on any of the podcasts yet, but he's actually been to the Makersmatch twice now and happens to be a two-time overall match champion. We have the Constant Tinkerer.
Howdy, y'all.
How's it going, brother?
Doing well. Doing well. Over the moon. It's been an incredible weekend.
Awesome. I think I'll start out a little since you're the new guy out here. I'll let you tell people who you are and where they might be able to find you and what kind of stuff you do, and then we'll get into the competition stuff. After the introductions.
Okay, sounds good. I am the Constant Tinkerer. You can find me at the Constant Tinkerer on Instagram. Don't really have any YouTube presence or Facebook presence for my public persona. On my Instagram, it's mostly maker focused. A lot of firearms content, some shooting content, builds, some 3D printing, but also some of the other things that I do tinker with. I'm a collector of Hot Wheels cars, build dioramas. I also do some culinary pursuits, making charcuterie, beef jerky, things of that nature. So it's a little bit of a mix of various hobbies that I tinker with on my Instagram. So if people are interested, they can check me out there.
Awesome. That's good to hear. Yeah, and I don't know if you're familiar with the channel or not, but I've mentioned a few times I do deer processing as well. So I dabble in different seasonings for jerkies and coming up with different things like that too. And I can appreciate the crossover and diversity of content.
Oh, excellent. I didn't get a whole lot of time to dig deep into your channel with everything going on this weekend, but I look forward to checking some of that out.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. All my stuff all my live shows and everything like that is always backed up for replay once it's done for anybody that misses them when they do go live.
Awesome.
And Shooting Gallery New England, you want to give a quick introduction to yourself? I know most of the folks in the chat are kind of familiar with already, but for anyone like Constant Tinkerer mentioned that might catch it later on.
Yeah. My name's Shooting Gallery New England. I'm a badass mother effer. No, I run the Shooting Gallery New England on YouTube. Gunsmithing content, guns, gear reviews, podcaster. I'm probably the only one on here that isn't into like building. Like I don't do. I don't know. I'm like the only like non 3D printer or like private gun maker on here. But I dabble. I love guns. It's my passion in life, and yeah, I am. I'm the guy on YouTube. I don't know. That was probably the worst introduction on God's great earth, but
Yeah, I was just gonna see where you was gonna go with it. I wasn't gonna help too much. I was just gonna see how far you was gonna roll down the hill.
Yeah,
I
do some stuff.
You didn't. Yeah, you did happen to make a few different things, and you do work on guns for a living currently.
That's the thing. I try and work on guns. Okay, I try a lot.
It's like my grandpa always said. He said the only difference between a professional and a non-professional is does someone pay you for it?
That is true. That is true. That is true. I will say that. Uh, yeah. I don't know. I just love guns. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you. I'm coming off of like another 6 day stretch of work a week. I'm just so drained. It's not even funny.
I hear what. I can't speak for Constant Tinker as well, but I know I had quite a bit of a trip this week as well, and that Florida sun don't help too much. The adrenaline and the thrill of doing the match and hanging out and stuff is nice, but then when you get back to the room afterwards, it feels like you done been ran over with a truck.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear I hear an echo in the background, so just throwing that out there. Someone might have a window open on YouTube, just throwing it out there. But it's whatever. Should be gone now. Yeah, it's gone. All right. Anyway. What?
Sorry, I muted you instead. I was just checking to see. I was just going around seeing where it might be coming from.
How dare you? That hurts my feelings.
Is it picking up now?
Yeah, I can hear it. Yeah, I can hear you. It's you. It's you. Sorry, we're getting some technical difficulties figured out right now. Should be out. Try it now.
Yeah, it was just the missus is
watching,
and she didn't.
It's all good. It's all good. So yeah,
yeah. We're just getting it's still winging it, but we just got back from a 1800 mile trip, so a little bit whooped.
That's a long drive though, man. Like here's my thing. I can't do the car ride. I can't do long car rides. It's a trip for me, man. From Massachusetts, if I drove from Massachusetts down to St. Augustine, that's 2 days automatically just getting down there.
That's a haul.
Yeah, 95. Once you get once you get past like the Northwest, like get out of like DC and from Virginia all the way down, it's just a straight shot down 95. Like there's nothing to see. You go through like North or South Carolina, wherever that south of the border tourist stop is, and that's all you see.
Yep. But at least, could be worse. He could be coming from Washington like Davey and Olam did, but at least he did fly instead of drive.
Ooh, nice. Now, who's that? I have no idea who that is.
He has a YouTube channel. He does a lot of period, like he does the dressing up. Like for example, at the match, he had a period correct 80% built reproduction of a Vietnam era.
Okay.
And then 1911, and he had the full get up. He even made custom patches for the match that was like a Vietnam style shoulder patch with like the folder for 3D printing and stuff, and just was giving them out. It was pretty cool getting to meet him, and he actually happened to be on my squad, on our squad. Me and Constant Tinker actually happened to be on the same squad this year again too.
Oh, nice. So, what? How did the match go?
You want to give some of your thoughts first? Say anything from this time compared to last time, improvements or differences?
Okay, that I'd have to think about a little bit, but
well, that's no problem. I'll start it off.
Okay.
That way.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say I'll give you a minute to think about it since I kind of sprung that on you. But personally, with the first one being my first competition ever, everything was new and all that stuff, and it was nice getting to see everybody and actually getting to compete with something that you built yourself. And everybody was really helpful trying to get stuff. Like people that was having problems, there was people helping, sharing parts and stuff like that, trying to get stuff going. If someone's 3D printed thing broke or something, they might, I saw someone let someone else use a bolt to get theirs going so they could finish the match and stuff. But it was still pretty overwhelming with everybody that first time, I think, because everybody was trying to get that, get the hang of what it is, what we're doing, even the folks that was putting it on, they knew a little bit of what they was doing, but I think that things kind of actually grew a little bit more than anyone expected it to be. It's one thing for us to, know that this is something that needs to be out there, that the fact that it's kind of been like a shadowy subject, for so long, only helps the anti-gunners with what they're trying to feed the folks that don't know any different. And all they have heard is some of them shadowy stuff and what the media constantly pushes to them. Whereas this time around, I think things ran a whole lot smoother, even though we ended up having last minute changes of a venue and stuff like that. Everybody, like I said, if we was in and out, we was kind of on a little bit of a time crunch and all that, and people was kind of grumbling and moaning when things got started, we didn't know we was going to be rushed and all this other stuff. But once the match actually started going, everybody was, rocking and rolling. Things went super smooth, and people, was helping out, letting people know, okay, we need to get to this next stage so that the folks can get started on this one, because again, we was under the time crunch. And I think there might only been one problem where someone had something like an out of battery or something, but even that was only like a minor thing. No serious medical problems, no safety accidents or anything like that. Everything was awesome.
Yeah, excellent. It is the Makersmatch, but we all came home with the same amount of fingers we went there with.
Yep.
It's 3D printed guns are not that scary. See, we got them all.
Yep. All 10 and all 10 toes, but I ain't gonna put them on the camera.
Yeah, same.
I don't need to see it, Cody.
Well, you got to pay,
Oh, dear Lord. Oh, that's good. Good
So,
stuff.
and on that note, how about you tell some of your experiences from the regional match? Because neither one of us have actually been to one of the regional ones, and how that was a little different from the actual full-on Makers match.
So the regional match I participated in last year, I will say it was very organized. I liked it. I didn't do the build class the day before because I already had a kit built. I built it off of 80% arms GST9. So I was running the 19X kit build, and it was really cool. Nobody had a 3D printed gun there, but we did have someone that like machined this like really cool SIG grip module. It was really cool, but it was mostly just kit builds, and it was the first competition I ever ran, so like it was actually really fun. It got me on the competition bug, so I've been trying to find USPSA or IDPA matches or Rimfire Challenge matches just to like shoot, because like I just had so much fun with competition, and
I hear
ended up placing third, and it made me like, again, I've never really gotten into competition, and like I was like, this is like really fun. So it was very well organized. Again, no one blew off their fingers or toes. So got some pretty good shots too. One of them I was just like, I can't replicate that. That's pretty good.
Yep. That's like one of them things where one of my favorite channels, Active Self-Protection, he always says luck don't count, or you can't count on luck, but luck does count. And you definitely have some of that showing up in competition and things happening like, or doing better than you was expecting and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was a fun match though.
Yeah. I think I'm not going to quite speak for you, but I think you'd probably agree that being the first which actually I don't know if you've done competitions beforehand, but I was my first time experience with a competition being the Makersmatch in the first place. And as Shooting Gallery mentioned, the whole atmosphere of being, relaxed and pretty chill overall, really, if you want to, put a word on it or whatever. But it kind of gave you that bug, about the competition being, you might, and not doing it beforehand, you might you kind of overthink things a lot. And when you actually get there, it ain't really what you think. And then, as we mentioned, you end up performing better than you expect to and stuff like that. There was actually one time on one of the second stages at the match this time, we're going back with the score. Both of us the first time around thought I might have missed or this and that, but then we happened to look back and it was both in the same hole, literally touching. It was only the fact of going back and thinking, hey, I'm not shooting 9mm like everybody else. I'm shooting 223. So them little holes, and that's, one of them things that wouldn't necessarily be able to recreate that exact thing, without quite a few more tries.
Yeah.
And not before y'all mention something, we actually got a late runner to the show. We got X7 Studios, also known as Op Runner. How's it going, brother? Glad you made it.
Woo! It's going good, man. How about you guys?
I'm just
doing good.
Bro.
Just doing great.
Yeah.
And did you want to tell folks a little bit about you?
Let's see. I like guns. I like long walks in the park. And I love you, babe. Sure. Give me just a second because I got somebody tailing me now.
All right, no problem. I'll kick that over to Constant Tinkerer to let you give some thoughts on. And first of all, if the Makersmatch atmosphere was your first experience with competition, or if you've done some other stuff before that you might be able to compare to the Makersmatch.
Well, I mean, in general, my competition experience is fairly limited. I did like a couple IDPA matches at a local range, in my younger days. This is probably like late 90s, early 2000s. Did a couple NRA action rifles, action pistol matches, and some 22 bench rest competition. Probably back in the late 2000s. But before last year's Makersmatch, I think the last competition I shot was probably, I mean, it's all a little bit of a blur, but maybe 10, 12 years prior to the first Makersmatch. And then after the Makersmatch, which the first one, which I won, which was completely unexpected. My only goal was to make it through that one and not have a heart attack or an asthma attack, or slip and fall or anything like that. So that was like very low bar for the first one. But I've shot a couple local IDPA pistol matches since, about 2 or 3 of those, and one regularly sanctioned IDPA match that I believe was back in January. But time, life, finances, they all have a way of getting in the way. I'd love to do more, but so generally that's my competition experience. But yeah, for the Makersmatch, just a fabulous event. I've got nothing but good things to say about it. I did feel a little rushed this year, but with the last minute venue change, which to my understanding was something health related with the gentleman that runs the original location, and what can you do? You just gotta roll with it. But yeah, the second one, I mean, it was fast. It was, you got to keep moving. But everyone that was running it, the RSOs, they ran a tight ship. You know, they got everything done, and everybody was cool about it. Really, really great community in the home build community, because everyone just kind of, for the most part, just goes with the flow. We're all there just to have fun, you know, to show off our pride and joys and what we can do with our pride and joys. So
Yeah, I agree with all of that too, and that was I actually like the way that you mentioned that, because that was one thing talking with some folks about again, some of the like misconceptions or that unknown or rumors, I guess you would call it, about like home built stuff. Like there's a lot of folks out there that don't know better, that think, okay, yeah, you know, the only reason you can want to try to build a gun is so you can hide it, or you might want to try and get it as cheap as you can, or something like that. And in reality, most of the folks that I've talked to, and especially the folks that actually come to something like the Makersmatch, a big part behind doing it is doing it because, number one, you enjoy it, but in that going to that type of event and atmosphere is for showing it off to other people that appreciate, you know, the uniqueness, or the, you know, this modification or this update or this thing you did different, or this material you used different, or you did this in a different way. I didn't think about that. I'm going to put that in my next project, type of thing. And it not be like sometimes like going for example, I know you're a car nut. Some racers and stuff like that, oh no, you can't look under the hood, or you know, or even at car shows and stuff like that, oh, I don't want you to know what I got under there. It's just, it is what it is, you know. And there, everybody kind of, like, you know, it's laid it all out on the line.
I will say that is what kind of drew me away from competition shooting in general, because I was always like, I don't know anything. I could YouTube like, hey, what do you need for like a, you know, IDPA or USPSA match, and like I don't know. And like my first reaction is to talk to guys, and like I always thought like people were just kind of like, no, I'm not telling you, don't leave me alone. And it's like, oh, okay, I'm just, you know, I'm all set.
Yeah.
Like I that I was just like, I don't need to deal with that type of stigma. I'm looking to have fun and compete. And if I was always like, what if I have a question? Like, do you think they're gonna be like, you know, get out my face? You know, that's kind of all I thought of with competition.
Yeah. And I'll echo that too, with it being my first time with competition. I was kind of thinking some of that same type of thing, you know, is people going to be kind of, you know, don't look over here or whatever, or even for, like you said, asking about different gear. If for example, say I asked, you know, what kind of belt would you recommend or something like that, and they're like, oh, you know, you can't know what it is that I got. You just go buy you something off of eBay or something like that. But it wasn't like that at all at the Makersmatch, especially.
yeah, and if I were to comment with that, like, I think a lot of that, and I'll be happy to see more of it, is kind of an overall shift in thinking in a lot of the 2A community. So it's almost like, and us particularly in the gun building community and in the 3D printing community, I feel we're possibly gun culture 2.0, or maybe gun culture 3.0. You know, we're the new blood, and I think it's time for, you know, some of the behaviors and culture from the dinosaurs. It's time for them to fade away, and it's time for a new generation in gun culture where we are welcoming towards, you know, more people. I mean, you know, the people that put on the event, it's guns for everyone. So some of the you know, the old timey FUD-esque kind of things of, you know, gatekeepers to the community of, you know, just like, well, what do you need running that? Or like, you know, I'm not telling you what compensator I'm going to run, or, you know, cause I'm, you know, trying to win competition. Like, you know, I'm hoping that we're getting a bit more of a generational shift into matches that are a lot more like the Makersmatch, where everyone's there just to really have fun and community, and look what I made with my own two hands, and I want to see what you made with your own two hands, and um, we're all in this together, and the more we outreach to more people, we change stigmas, we change incorrect perceptions, and it's better for all of us as a whole. Off soapbox.
Yeah, and it really is kind of like a cliche, but it really is true that knowledge is power. And if on whichever side that falls, right now there's a lot of stuff that lies and false narratives is the majority of what folks know, and putting the truth out there is the only way that that's going to be able to change. Putting light on things, on how it really is, and it's not all scary and doom and gloom, but the same thing like the news and stuff like that, that doom and gloom is what gets them their ratings and stuff, so that's everything they push always is going to lean towards that.
Wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah.
Are you still out there, X7?
Yeah, can you hear me? I think I'm
Yeah.
not connected. I just can't on my internet.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
going to
you're
say you
fading
cut
in and
out
out.
there.
Okay, tell you what. Let me get my internet going up.
All right.
All right, we'll see you here back in a little bit.
Yeah, and to your point, Constant Tinker, I was the well, short story. So when I first started getting into guns, I was like, my buddy was like really into shotgun shooting, and I never shot like a trap match or anything like that. So all I had was a Maverick 88 with an 18-inch barrel. Like that's all I had, and I'm like, all right, let's go and shoot. And there was like two old FUD like dudes that wouldn't leave me the F alone. Like I'm just trying to shoot. Like I understand I probably didn't hit as much as everybody else. Like I'm sorry I don't have a Browning Satori. I'm just trying to have fun, and that's why I always like stayed away from competitions anyway, because I like to go to the range to have fun. Like I'll admit I don't have as much training as I should, but I've never been like this like uber tactical trainer, or like I've never been into like, has to be bullseye or anything. It's like, no, I want to go to the range and have fun. And that's why I actually like the when I did the regional Makersmatch, that was what was fun for me, because it was something new. I got to actually shoot a gun that I built myself, and it was really fun. It didn't give me the stigma of, all right, some old FUD is going to try and just really give me a hard time with no matter what I'm doing.
Yeah, and that's also that kind of ties into something that we've talked about on a few of the podcasts before, and touched on the Gunsmith show, about a few different things. But when things are not passed down, or trying to like hide it like that, where you was talking about, okay, I don't want to tell you about this kind of part that I'm using because I want to get a little bit of an edge over you or something like that. And if you have that mentality all the time, something happens, all them little tips and edge things that you've built up is going to go away, because no one's going to have that if you don't share that and pass that on. What we talk about, like with the gunsmithing and different skills and stuff like that, people not necessarily seeking that out fresh. If that's not passed down, that stuff's going to disappear. And where you had mentioned, like where you've seen from some of your other experience versus how things was at the match, and slowly overall mentality shifting to that, I'm going to help you out, or being more approachable for new people, instead of kind of having that standoffish, like where we kind of gave us the fear, not of that might be the reaction or reception that we would be getting is, no, I don't want to. Don't come to me with them questions. You ought to know what you need to know, or otherwise, that's better for me because I'm just gonna kick your butt.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I'm hoping to.
It's gatekeeping, and in the end, it really only hurts the 2A community.
Yep.
Because if we keep gatekeeping of just like whether it's well, you only have an 18-inch barrel, you don't even have a I don't know if you mentioned whether it had a choke on it or not, but
no, it didn't.
No. But it's like, okay, well, you got to run what you run, and let people participate, let people work their way up into their gun collection. Maybe they don't have a proper trap or skeet rig now, but maybe they will.
Yeah.
And if there's enough gatekeeping, then you're crushing people's hopes and dreams, and let them shoot. Get people into the community.
Yeah.
They spent so much time preaching to the choir, they never thought about growing the flock.
Yeah. Well, one thing I was happy about with the gun Makersmatch when it first came out too, and I was like, because I'm not a 3D printer. I'm looking to buy Ender 3 and not even to like print guns, just like because I'm a nerd and I want to print like Power Ranger helmets, because that's what I first go to when I think 3D printing. The laws in Massachusetts are a little bit different too, so it's like I just want to have to. I want to. It's not my thing, but I'm glad like it allows like kit builds, because a lot of people, that's what they first get into with private gun making is, oh, I got a P80 or I got an 80% arms, or people who want to try a JST supply gun or stuff like that. They don't have to spend a lot of money on getting a 3D printer, learning how to use the software, or in some cases they don't have to buy like a ghost gunner and do the 80% receiver that way, or get a 80% 1911 and spend months and months and months hand filing every part. Like it gets people that, hey, money's tight for a lot of people. And if someone can afford to do a P80, there's sometimes like you can go on JST Supply right now and get a P80 for under $100. All right. It's, you don't have to spend thousands of dollars for initial investment in a time. You can get into it with under 500 to just, and then you get the knowledge of building. Like I'm just, cause like I'll be honest, I probably would never print a firearm off 3D printer, because I don't have the knowledge, and I'd be afraid. Like, I'm not like saying like I'm afraid it's going to blow up. I just don't have the knowledge. Maybe once I get the knowledge, I'd maybe attempt when I try, but kit builds are a good starter point for a match like this. I'm glad it has a division for that. It doesn't just say, no, it has to be 3D printed. Like, no, you can do kit builds.
And that was also another thing that I actually picked up this time a little bit more, where especially amongst the folks that was doing the 3D print and stuff, where you mentioned like the budget friendly type stuff. There was a lot of people mentioning, hey, did you know about you can use this part instead, that's a lot cheaper, and still be able to print the more like nylon, I guess, that needs a little bit more, has a little bit more finesse to it that you got to do, and usually requires more expensive stuff. People was talking about how to be able to adapt one of the cheaper printers by using some different kind of parts and stuff to do the same type of stuff, but save that possibly $400, $500, $600 or more, for one of them more expensive printers that's made from the start to be able to handle that. And those types of tips, not just the actual gun stuff itself, but more of like the tools and material type stuff. That was a lot of what I heard, was a lot of people talking about the different kind of filaments and stuff like that that's out there, which that was my first. I mentioned like with Shooting Gallery New England that I didn't really know much about 3D printing before the first match either. And so my first experience of actually seeing any of the stuff in person, not just pictures online, was at the match. And it really kind of like widened my eyes to the amount of variety that there actually is out there. Everybody sees, your basic Glock, SIG, Colt, all the stuff you see in the magazines or the gun store or whatever. But there was stuff out there that, wouldn't look out of place in a video game or even a cartoon, at some of the stuff. And at one of the first match, a dude made the whole front end of his handguard was a dragon head, to where the barrel was coming out of the dragon's mouth. I mean, that's something you can't just 3D print and makes that kind of wild and crazy type stuff possible.
I've seen the picture of that. That makes me want to buy like a CZ Scorpion. It was on a CZ Scorpion, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. I want to buy a CZ Scorpion rifle and print that handguard. Like that is some cool stuff to me. Like,
yeah,
it's an art form
weapon.
Yeah.
But yeah, and other things with the 3D printing, like for me, the first 3D printed gun that really caught my eye was the Mac Daddy. Because I've shot some Mac 11s in the past, and let's be honest, the original Mac 11 platform certainly lacked in ergonomics, reliability, quality of trigger, magazine reliability.
I think it was the best damn gun ever made.
Now, I'm glad that you actually touched on that too, because that was one of the things that surprised me and kind of got me looking into 3D printing in the first place, was people that was doing that, taking something like the Mac, like you mentioned, or even stuff like the I forget exactly the models, but there's a couple of different like Russian pistols and stuff like that. Like you said, it wasn't necessarily the best, or even something that might be considered like a garbage gun to most folks, but they made some kind, whether it be a new frame or a new some kind of new feature or part with the capabilities of the 3D printer, and it almost becomes like a whole new thing. And then
absolutely,
garbage guns ain't so cheap no more, because people don't see it as garbage anymore. They see what people didn't conceptualize beforehand.
Yeah. So like with the Mac Daddy, like original Cobra magazines, okay, we'll replace that with a Glock magazine. We've got magazine reliability, straight up and down vertical grip with with a mag well built in. Well, now we've got a forward mag well and an AR-15 grip, so now we have ergonomics back in the play. Reliability. I mean, I know there's some stuff with like the firing pins that's still kind of getting sorted out, and there's different uppers, but the Mac Daddy, really did a great job of fixing a lot of those issues. And like, the only way you can get one is if you build one, or you build one yourself. So, I mean, that's a huge appeal to anyone that's a firearms enthusiast, because like, it's a gun you have to build. Like, there are no commercial Mac Daddies that you can go to a gun store and buy. Like, if you want a Mac Daddy, you have to build it yourself. And I find that to be awesome.
Yeah, I totally agree. Another thing too that I didn't necessarily see at the Makersmatch, but it is something that the 3D printing makes possible, is being able to take something like from a video game or a movie or a comic book or something like that, and actually make it real. For example, one thing that was at the match this year that Mr. Snow had brought, he made a Han Solo Star Wars blaster that was in all reality it was basically a 1022, but looking at even from as far as you'd be able to see, you can recognize that as Han Solo's blaster from looks at it. And that was something that was possible because of the 3D printing. And same thing, you can buy replicas. Yeah, it was. But you can buy like rubber replicas or like model kits and stuff like that, but none of them actual like movie guns is available in a real firing replica. even one that's real. Another one that comes to mind that's really popular is the Blade Runner gun. There's a few different kind of companies that make like models and stuff like that, and I know there's some folks that have put out files for being able to 3D print your own model of it. But something like that would be interesting for someone to take that has the knowledge, like you said, of taking a gun and that design, piecing them together to where you have the function bits inside with the aesthetics on the outside. And then, like you said, something even where you had mentioned with the Mac, where you even don't mix and match by, say, adding the Glock magazine, something that you know that's going to be reliable. And I said that really the sky's the limit on that when you're considering being able to pick and choose what you want, or like for example, figure out how you want it to be, and then there's like countless of things that you can pull from, and then with the 3D printing, you can fill in the blanks to make all that stuff mesh together.
Yeah, and I mean the number of different models and the designs, like it just seems even in the last year it's grown at an exponential pace. I mean, the stuff that Are We Cool Yet are doing, the stuff Deerwood's doing, the Cobra 9, the Arc, I mean, all of that. Like, I mean, there was the new P90. I mean,
yeah,
and it's all community driven. Like,
hold on just a minute. I don't mean to cut you off, but you mentioned something there that I know a lot of folks aren't necessarily aware of, and I noticed immediately as soon as he said it how Shooting Gallery New England popped his head up. Would you like to rewind a little bit and explain what you mentioned when you brought up the P90?
Yeah, so I mean, with everything going on yesterday, I didn't get a real good look at it, but there was a 3D printed clone of the Fabrique Nationale P90 there. I didn't get a super close look at it, but to my knowledge, it is a P90 clone. I mean, yeah, it's in the 5.7 round, takes the P90 mags.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I thought you was a little bit more in the know on that. I didn't mean to put you on the spot on that as far as just seeing it at the match. But yeah, I was a little bit familiar with that beforehand. There is like a project in the works that they're trying to get to, like the release version for people to use, that is a 3D printed PS90. And or I don't know what the difference between the right one for the semi-auto, not, we ain't talking about the full auto stuff here, but
correct.
Using the 3D printed stuff, and the folks that I think was behind the project or part of it was actually there, giving out some of the like, I guess it would be like metal pieces, really, that you put together with your 3D printed stuff to be able to make the bolts and stuff like that. And that was some of the folks that was like just helping out as far as with parts or tools and stuff like that, instead of the, oh no, we got to hide this or stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
And that another really awesome thing that I saw at the match this time, for the show and tell part, I don't know if they actually did it for the match itself, which would have been awesome, and I'll have to find video or pictures if they did, was the VHS gun, the folding gun that looks like a camcorder. A dude made one that I'm assuming is using what it looked like is like a Glock inside of it, and similar to the I think it was a fold conceal. They made like a folding grip and trigger guard for Glocks a while back. It looked something similar to that, but same thing, just like the old videos you've seen of it, where you like push the button and pop down, ready to go. Exactly, where, like we talked about before, bringing something that's more popular from a movie or fictional type of thing to a legit hands-on, real functional firing gun.
Yeah, I think Magpul made the first prototype for that, and like showed it off at SHOT Show years ago, and then was like,
I think it was, did they call it like the FG9, the folding gun nut, or
Yes,
something like
yes,
that. Yeah.
FG9, something like that. Yes, sir. Yeah, but it's, you know, and like the gun community was clamoring for that for so many years, and I think someone's coming out with something like that as a production unit, but yeah, to have it as 3D printable, you know, it just speaks even more to like the do-it-yourself gun community. It all moves so fast, and it's like, well, yeah, if we want one and we can't have it, we're gonna make it.
So this is my question to both of you. The folding gun thing, the FG9, what Mac was trying to come up with. Everyone was like clamoring for that gun. But when Full Conceal came out with that foldable Glock 19, everyone lost their ever-loving mind, which essentially is the same damn concept. What, like,
Yeah.
I just want to, like, what is the, like, why do people, what, the gun community wanted the FG9. Full Conceal kind of pretty much came out with it. Like, I don't understand why everyone lost their ever-loving mind over that.
I guess they wanted that.
The thing is, you're concealing a handgun, and whereas an FG, whatever it was, which I saw in person at SHOT Show, it's kind of almost like a PDW. So it's like you have a concealable PDW that you can throw in a briefcase, your bag, that's perfectly foldable, and just, man, it's fucking nice, man. So it's like the folding Glock thing is just extra because it's already in a handgun-shaped size. So size does play a different factor for it.
All right, cool. That's kind of explained because like that's all I like. I didn't understand because like I thought the full concealed Glock 19 was like freaking awesome. I know because I know Hank Strange he fit his in his. Yeah, he fit his in a Nintendo Switch bag, and I'm like, dude, that is cool as hell. But everyone just shat all
That
over
was the
that
first thing I thought of when I seen it was, hey, that'd fit in the old school Game Boy case.
And everyone just was like, that thing sucks. And I'm like, that's exactly that is what an FG9 is. Like,
well, I'll tell you, I would rather have that than that cell phone life card, I think they call it.
Oh, yeah.
Gun.
Well, the Life Card 22 is cool, but that foldable cell phone 380 thing, that looks dumb as hell. Like, that is just stupid. But, okay.
Yeah, make police jobs harder. Fuck it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, no, that is dumb as shit.
Hey, you know what? Can I comment something about the Makersmatch, actually? Because you guys were mentioning something, and I was in a bad signal area. To kind of touch on the Makersmatch, and like you guys were mentioning how there's like gatekeeping going on. So I kind of understand where the gatekeeping kind of comes from, that mentality of theirs. Because when I first got introduced to competition, it was really fucking chill. Like it was the most fun I ever had, and it was actually how I met Hank Strange. Was literally at a YouTube meet and greet, and I didn't know there was a competition, so I participated in it, and we fucking won. And later on, I started actually training with people who actually do professional competition because I was doing a bit of their video work for a while. And I started to kind of understand and see that actually there's like an elitism within their community and all that. So I hate to say it, and I hate to play devil's advocate here because I kind of understand where they're coming from when they're gatekeeping in that kind of respect. Mainly because it's a sophisticated, disciplined fucking like event or sport, really. So it's like they don't really just want any Joe Schmo with no respect and then coming in with like some wild ass weird looking shit that doesn't make any sense. Going out there going ham on a closed range, you know. So I kind of get where that comes from. And so to touch on that, the reason why I actually love the Makersmatch is because that's a really good entry point for people that are not familiar with that competitive mindset. And it's like once you get over that fear and all that bullshit, that comes with going to like a competitive match yourself, you kind of like ignore all that crap and you ignore the elitists and all that kind of shit. Because like it's its own community. Let's be real here. It's its own fucking community and entity of its own because you can easily tell because there's so many sponsored shooters and many companies willing to pay stupid ass top dollar for these athletes really to go kick fucking ass at ranges and shit. If you think about it, that's pretty fucking cool. So I get that, you know, a lot of new gun owners get intimidated by that, and they're like, oh, well, I don't want to go to a competition shoot because I don't want to do such and such. But I'll actually tell you something. I met Mike Pannone, who is he's a Delta Force dude, ex-Delta, and he's a badass motherfucker, and he does a shit ton of competition, and he used to be sponsored by Staccato. Now he's with I don't fucking remember, but another big company. And he kind of bridges the gap between, you know, training mindset of a competitive shooter and, let's say, you know, someone doing some tactical application, like a SWAT officer, a police officer. Because there's always that talk of, like, how do you mix the two together, you know? And it's kind of a weird conversation. Because, like, a lot of people come from the mindset in terms of, like, tactical training is like, oh, well, this is tactics. Tactics win battles and shit. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. But when it comes to competitive shooting, it's like you got to be able to hit your fucking mark when the time calls for it. And if you think about it, that's pretty fucking insane.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I can kind of get that. I mean, because, you know, like, you know, we're all human beings. We all have egos. You know, sometimes there are some people that are at the top and they have their ego of, you know, well, we just can't just let anyone just go fucking crazy on the range. But then again, then there's also some people that come into a situation with an elevated level of ego. And so it creates tension. It creates clashing. Like, so.
And that's one thing the Makersmatch doesn't have, which is phenomenal.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't have that
Yeah.
at all.
Yes,
There's no
chill.
elitism at all. That's what I like a lot about it. It was very
Love it.
pure. By the way, holy shit, I just saw somebody painted over a speed limit sign. It said 85. Oh, man, in a neighborhood.
That's a Florida problem.
No, I'm in Alabama right now. Somewhere.
You're just all over the place, dude.
Yeah, I'm in northern
But yeah,
fucking Alabama, middle fuck all nowhere.
I'm gonna start calling you Mr. 305.
Please
Mr.
don't.
Worldwide checking in for
Mr.
the remix.
Worldwide. There,
Yeah.
Worldwide. Man,
there you go. But yeah, I can see where that's coming from too, especially like you had mentioned it being like a athlete type of thing. Because really, when you're competing and stuff, you're a type of an athlete, even if you know people didn't used to want to say it so much, but now people want to strive towards it. Gaming, what they would call an e-athlete, you're still putting the time in to better yourself. So any of them type of things is going to have that type of hierarchy type thing to it, where you had mentioned the elitism type thing, and in the shooting sport specifically, like you mentioned, it's a whole community in and of itself, where a lot of us talk about the 2A or firearms community having its own like sub cliques and stuff like that, and sometimes button heads amongst each other instead of all of us, you know, helping each other out where it really counts. You get the same type of thing in some of the shooting sports stuff, just in the different kinds of like competition type things where, you don't do this kind of competition, so that ain't really competing, or I do this kind of competing and it's better than what you're doing over there. Like you mentioned.
Yo, I'll do you one better. Fucking PCC guys versus handgun guys. That argument and the memes that come out of that shit is the funniest shit I've ever heard. Because I remember I saw one where it's like two dudes in a bathroom, right? They're in a urinal, right? And then there's like 10 stalls, like in between each other. And then the PCC shooter goes over to the other guy and goes, "Hey," and he's like pissing right next to him. It's like fucking dude. God, the PCC crowd in itself is a whole nother fucking topic in itself. Because the thing is, yeah, there's different divisions and shit and what you're trying to do competitive wise. And I think that honestly, the nicest thing that I have noticed is most of them to some degree respect each other. And so I haven't seen any terms of like, oh, well, if you got this, then you can't use that kind of bullshit. You know? Yeah. That's one degree that I really respect about competitive shooters is, you know what? I know, I understand totally that people feel like an elitism towards, their crap, where it's like now no, they don't want anybody to join, because you have to respect the sport. You have to respect everything about it. You have to respect the
Yep.
rules in order to compete in that division, right? So you're wearing a certain gear set, you're wearing, whatever production gun, whatever. The point is you're following a rule set. And it's like, it's intimidating. It's fucking intimidating. But honestly, it was the most funnest thing after you get past that. It was really, really fucking fun. I love competitive shooting. And Makersmatch only made me want to do it way, way more, because I noticed there's such a cool community in every fucking, facet of shooting. Like, there really is. If you go out of your fucking way, you'll find a different community for each type of shooting, right? And each type of gun making or anything at all related to firearms. So it's like, people just need to, kind of get over the whole stigma and shit. That's just my personal opinion. But at the same time, the Makersmatch is that perfect avenue to introduce more people into it. And then who knows, man?
Exactly.
There might be a whole fucking league and shit. I mean, that sounds fucking cool, dude. Like, you have a builders league, just, I don't know. That'd be really cool.
That's definitely nothing that's been done before.
Yeah, but I mean, from a liability standpoint, I kind of understand why insurance companies probably won't cover that.
Yeah. I was gonna say when you get to them technicalities, you can understand. But yeah, like you were saying, go ahead.
Insurance companies are the freaking devil. Okay. Oh my God! If
they pay for things though. So
I don't care. I don't know.
They pay for stuff.
The more people, the more time I have to speak to insurance companies, the more I just want to be like, I
agree totally, man.
Oh my
you
God!
don't know what kind of insurances we pay right now. It's kind of
trust me. I'm in Massachusetts. We're one of the only states in the country now that you get fined for not having health insurance. Like, you get like a massive fine in your taxes for not having health insurance.
God. That was like Obamacare and shit. Damn, I didn't think it was that bad.
Yeah,
that ain't good.
Woo! Damn, man, time to stand up.
It's time for me to pack up a U-Haul and move down to the sunny
I'm dead
East
ass,
Coast.
dude. Get the hell out of there. Like, don't say that anymore. There's so much opportunity. Shit. I don't understand. That's just part of me I don't understand. It's like, I understand in terms of work situation and shit, but it's like, in some cases, like, people living in Cali, it's just like, no, why? Fuck. These draconian fucking laws at this point.
If I could do YouTube full time and just create content in the gun industry, I would love it, because if I could live down south and not deal with this BS, oh my God, that'd be the dream job.
Yeah, well, you're always welcome. We got plenty of room.
Okay, so hang.
We don't try to cram everybody into every square foot possible like y'all do up on the northeast coast.
Yeah.
Well, that's creeping down to the mid.
Yeah, it's coming down. a lot of people are saying, "F that! I'm going to the Carolinas. I'm going to Georgia, or I'm going to Florida." Like, no.
Yeah, my rent in the
Carolinas hold on. Let me say something. Don't come to Florida.
Too much this year.
Guys, tell everybody, stop coming to fucking Florida. We're tired of it. All right, I had enough. Too many fucking people. You guys can come. You're cool.
Oh, okay. So I'm clear to come if I want. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Nobody else.
Pretty much. Fuck everybody else. Ooh, man, this is perfect.
In other words, he said, "You," as in us, is okay, but y'all as in everybody else, stay away.
Y'all kind, or however you say it. Man, you know what? Getting super dark tints and doing reverse shit is really hard.
Anyway, but yeah, no, I'm all sad I didn't get to go to the national match this year. Hopefully next year I'll be able to.
Dude, I'm fucking pissed. This guy walks away with a BRN 180, a whole one.
Who?
I didn't. No. Hey, no. No, I didn't win that. I built that. That's what I competed and got second place with.
Oh, no shit. Oh,
yeah.
Okay, dude. I was like, hold on.
While he's talking, Yeah. While he's talking, let me go ahead and show y'all out there what he's talking about. This is the build that I used at the match this year. It was a custom 80% milled lower that was milled on finished on a ghost gunner that I had engraved with my Swamp Dog logo and Gun Makersmatch 2022.
Well, I can't see that far.
Yeah, well, I'll light it up with the.
That thing is sick, dude.
Beautiful.
That was a gorgeous fucking gun. I forgot to show my wife. I was like, yo, it's got wood on it.
Yeah, that was everybody there kept on commenting about the wood and stuff, and that was one I literally put it together at I drove to a friend's house that had a ghost gunner to be able to borrow it and use it, and hooked up my laptop and all that stuff and did it, and didn't even finish putting the parts and stuff in it until 6:30 Friday night with the match, and then finding out with the change and all that stuff, having to get to the match at 7 in the morning the following morning. So I didn't even test fire it or anything. The first shots was on the first stage of the match, and I was able to get second place in the kit rifle division.
What type of optics do you have on that?
That, my friend, is the SwampFox blade. Shout out to SwampFox Optics. It is not magnified. It is a 1X prism scope.
I'll have to check them out. That looks like a sweet optic I could try out.
For the Makersmatch, it is actually the perfect thing because it was designed from the get-go as a law enforcement or home defense type setup. So instead of having a bullet drop compensator reticle like most variable optics might have, instead, the way the reticle is set up, it has what's called bullet rise compensators, and it has a couple of different holdover marks for different ranges of up close. And with the Makersmatch stages being pretty much between 5 yards to 25 yards, being like your range distances, the holdovers for them home defense type up close ranges is perfect. And I was actually able to use that to my advantage on the barricade stage that I think saved me a lot because everybody kept hitting the barricade and I managed to not hit it none.
Yes, I would say that sounds like a fabulous optic for that. Because yeah, we all hit that barricade. That barricade is rough, man.
Yeah. It definitely was a lot less room for error than the windows and stuff they had set up at the first match, which that stage with the windows from the first match was my favorite thing from the first match altogether. And I kind of felt the same way on that last stage where we had the barricade, even though it was so aggravating because it had, a little bit of everything in it. It had the angles, it had the shooting through the barricade and the steel target, which was only on a couple of parts as well. So, and like we had mentioned before, having to kind of run through it as quick as you can. I think people kind of complain about it a little bit, but I also think it kind of helped folks out as kind of knowing we need to get to it, so they didn't overthink things too much and just did what they got to do.
People shot the barrier?
People did what?
People shot the barrier?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. like almost everybody shot the barrier. Well, there was one dude. Yeah, go ahead.
You guys nobody said anything at the match like, hey guys, hide overboard, don't shoot the barricade.
No, everybody was helping out.
So here's the thing, like at a lot of other matches, when you have like that, that standard piece of plywood with all the little holes and slots in it and stuff, like at a lot of other competitions, like you're really like right up on it. So you can even to the point where like you could even like stick your muzzle through one of the firing ports of the barricade. At the Makersmatch, we had probably a good, 5-10 feet standoff from the barricade. So like our muzzle wasn't anywhere close to that barricade. So it was it was the most challenging barricade I've ever had to shoot through.
I almost shot the barricade in the regional match with a pistol, and I was like, I had 1, 2, and then there was one we had to crouch down. When I crouched down, I'm like, I'm gonna hit this effing barricade. I'm gonna hit it, and I was probably only like 3 feet away from it, but I'm like, I'm gonna hit this thing, and I managed to get it like a side shot to it, and I'm like, I got done with it. I forget who I think I talked to 283D Print. I'm like, I'm surprised I didn't hit that thing. Like, I'm really surprised.
Yep.
Yeah, and you're actually the only competitor that I've talked to that didn't have a barricade strike. I mean, granted, I didn't talk to everybody, but
I was gonna say I didn't talk to anybody or everybody either, but everybody I talked to said they hit it once or twice, and there was one dude that I felt bad for him. He had something happen, like malfunction with the gun, to where it kind of ran away on him. So he just straight 10 shots straight into the barricade up, and he was like, "I'm just done." But like a 10-second penalty per thing.
DQ.
Yeah.
DQ.
So he's like,
"You're done for the day, sir." Man,
Well,
that
that's the
is
thing.
the fucking worst thing.
You can't plan for a runaway gun. Like if you're, especially in this competition, like that. I can see that happening. Like stuff fails, whatever it is, and it's like, oh, damn.
and I think that is one thing too that I do want to mention or point out to the Makersmatch that I think is a little bit unique to it, where something like that, which X7, you've done quite a bit of competitions and seen that more elite type folks, something like that in a regular competition definitely wouldn't be going down or whatever. But with it being the 3D printed build it yourself, there is that kind of expectation that shit's gonna happen, and therefore there is that extra level of that many more folks paying attention to what's going on to keep to bring the level of safety up with the increased potential risk of things going on. Like we said, nothing bad happened to where everybody went home with all their digits.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's the important part, right?
Say that again.
I said that's the important part, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. Like safety's on point. Weapon malfunctions do happen. They happen with home built guns. They happen with commercially available guns. But the range, that's the place for those malfunctions to occur. We drive them hard. That's where they're going to happen. But it's in a completely controlled environment where everyone's safe. There's there's berms. There's safety procedures and protocols in place. So, it's just like any other shooting competition. Sometimes,
and again, I was going to say again, tying into the whole car side of things, that same thing with the competition side of things. That's you're going to push things a lot harder in racing or something like that than you are just your everyday use type of scenario, and that's where them extra safety procedures and even new safety standards and stuff like that all comes from the competition side of things that ends up trickling into the everyday side of things. That same thing with cars. That same thing, even like say regular sports, football, baseball stuff. The advancements that has come from like the protective gear and the actual equipment and stuff that is used for that activity, over even just say for the last decade, has come leaps and bounds. Same thing with the firearms, area. Like you said, the range has all them extra safety steps in place for those reasons, because that's where something's going to happen. So be prepared for that 1 in a 10,000 chance thing happening.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And right on point with the car analogy. I mean, I've seen factory motors, blow and slick the track. I've seen rebuilt, home built motors blow and slick the track. Shit happens.
Yep.
So just don't shoot the barricade, everybody. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So
Funny thing, actually, no, I got hit
And that
by
was
a fucking Glock 19 extractor. Literally from really, really bad ammo and shit. It was weird. But yeah, shit happens. Wear your eye pro. This is why we have it.
definitely eye protection and ear protection, and that was one thing, that some of the folks that was like first times coming to range type of thing at the first Makers match, that some of them like not quite safety errors per se, but a lot of that stuff was addressed more this time to make sure, we're not, like they mentioned, they're like, we're not like necessarily treating you like babies or whatever, but some folks are basically babies out here because this is their first time with anything. And as Joe had mentioned before, some folks are intimidated to ask some of them basic type questions and wouldn't know no different. And even going back to talking about like the being like pressed on time and stuff, and having everybody pitching in, having the whole squad going out and pastying the targets and stuff behind the shooter in the score to keep things rolling and stuff, and then towards the end helping take stuff down, which I know some folks kind of, everybody, any type of situation when it comes time for the cleanup, most folks is going to try to slip away before they got to help. But there was a lot of volunteering going on from just the competitors and community type thing. It wasn't just all on the shoulders of the actual event organizer, and I thought that was pretty awesome too.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, is that's what they actually do at, professional competitive matches and shit, which is like the best dynamic. It keeps things flowing and on fucking point.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it keeps people on check, because some people will watch, certain outcomes or judgments, or it's like, oh, well, he broke the 180 rule, he's DQ'd and shit. So it keeps everybody in fucking check, and I do like that a lot. So I think that's something that we could, well, the organizer could potentially bring up, is to bring that kind of same level of sportsmanship and respect amongst each other in like your squads or whatnot, because it's more than just like a couple of names on a list. It's a squad. It's like that dude's pacing up your targets, and then that dude's making sure that you hit all alphas when later he could say that you hit bravos. Like real shit.
Yeah.
That does fucking happen. It's foul, mad foul.
And I think that this the second match actually stepped all them points up a notch from where it was on the first match, and I really think that if you would have been able to make it this time, you would have had some more to say about it. Because I know some of the things off camera specifically that we had mentioned and you had pointed out as far as concerns and stuff you had was actually addressed this time too. And that where you mentioned the whole the sportsmanship type of thing and pitching in and all that type of stuff was mentioned. And then of course, like I said, this time they did do a lot more mentioning on the safety stuff, and the same thing, everybody is a range off. You see something unsafe, you mention it. Stuff that like us as shooters is kind of basic common sense type of stuff, doing all this, sometimes we kind of forget that you don't get born with that, you don't know not to touch something hot until you know not to touch something hot.
I touch hot stuff all the time.
Well, you're in Afghanistan, so it might be something in the air.
Yeah, it's something in the water, I tell you. But yeah, I actually got to run, guys. I'm get some stuff I gotta get done for tomorrow. But Cody, I appreciate.
Yeah, I was just
on,
fixing
dude.
to say we've been over for an hour now, so I was fixing to give everybody their chance to
yeah, I'll stay on.
Do their wrap ups and stuff, and I wanted to just show up the second place.
Look
and
at that.
If I don't know if you want to zoom in your camera, Constant Tinker, but I'll put you up full screen real quick, and you can show off your stuff you got.
I love that printed trophy.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Yeah, that one was fucking gangster.
I want the
Oh,
belt
yeah.
though.
Yeah. Third place.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I want the belt.
that trophy's cool. It's like a little 3D printer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. I dig that.
I want the belt.
But yeah, beautiful belt. You know, and big thanks to everybody, Guns for Everyone, Aussie, JSD Supply, all the sponsors. I mean, God, what a great event!
And Rob
All the-
Pincus.
Oh yes, Rob, Edgar, Xander, all the other guys from Aussie, and you know all the other participants that were great. And I got to meet and talk to. It was great to see Mr. Snow again. It was great to meet Carl from In Range TV. Deviant Olam. I just recently found his channel. You know, his kit was on point. You know, I'm sure I'm leaving a bunch of names off because there's so many people, so many great folks to mention. But yeah, just an amazing event. But yeah, I was really hoping to. My main goal for this year was to get to place in pistol because I didn't place in pistol last year, so I've been wanting to get better at my pistol performance. And so yeah, I was very fortunate. I got first in kit rifle division, kit pistol, and kit PCC. The belt, and of course, you know, 2 of my competition rigs.
Yeah, you want to kind of briefly mention, just don't like pick them up or nothing, but you want to mention what those are in the case that you use?
Yeah, so first up is going to be AR-15, built on a Polymer 80 receiver. That was actually one of the first gun I ever built myself. It's kind of like a alternative timeline inspired by In Range TV's What Would Stoner Do project. Key points are, you know, use of polymers, exotic materials, and keeping it very lightweight, slimline, nimble. Got an aluminum handguard from Midwest Industries, super light with titanium barrel nut and hardware. Faxon gunner profile barrel because pencil barrels are like made of gold. They're just hard. They're just impossible to find. But still a very, very lightweight barrel, even in comparison to the pencil barrel. It's still significantly lighter than like an M4 profile. Got a TACOM buffer and Sequence Precision adjustable gas blocks, so she's very soft shooting. Zero fail bolt carrier group in the nickel boron. Hollow Sun pistol optic, lightweight. Ambi safety, ambi controls, slick side upper. Total weight 5 pounds 10 ounces as configured. Right,
and that's without using a pencil barrel.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Without a pencil barrel, still 5 pounds 10 ounces.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. So it's when I was sick, I had researched lightweight builds, you know, in hopes of being able to recover and get back into the shooting sports again. And so that kind of brought me down that path towards lightweight builds, the What Would Stoner Do project, and some of the stuff they were doing. My other rig is AR9, 80% aluminum. That is 80%. I guess casting that was I got from I think it was AR-15 lowers. The uppers Foxtrot mic 16-inch with the forward charging handle on it. Also same ambi safety on there, and also the similar furniture also dyed to match.
Yeah, I like the color combos on those.
Thank you. Yeah, I went with the kind of the burgundy red. Kind of matches my car back home.
Awesome. And on that note, we'll kick it over to Shooting Gallery New England. I know you were saying you had to head on out. Let you say your final words to everybody.
So yeah, guys, first of all, thank you for having me on, Cody. Appreciate it. Definitely you guys gotta check out the Gunsmith show every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, I'm thinking.
Yes.
That's your time zone.
Yeah,
I'm Joe, Shooting Gallery New England. Do a ton of good gun stuff on YouTube, TikTok, all that stuff. We just reached 1,500 subscribers tonight, so I'm pretty stoked about that. And again, we keep building more guns, everybody.
There you go.
sounds good.
And how about you, X7? You got any closing remarks for folks? Let you have the words of wisdom.
Sorry, I'm late. I'm a late asshole. Sorry. I read that it was 9 p.m. Eastern time, and I was just like, wait, I'm on Central time. Because I'm in fucking Alabama. I thought it was like Eastern time, so I read the time wrong. So sorry about being late. I don't necessarily have too many final thoughts. I kind of wanted to touch on something about the cryptocurrency because I noticed you wore the TUSC jersey, and an interesting topic we could definitely talk about next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd probably be a good topic to have an actual Swamp Talk episode on about the cryptocurrency and how things is going now.
Well, I was thinking about the long lines of the new digital currency of the world.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty be an interesting topic. But yeah, sorry I was late. I don't really have any final words, but I wish you all well. And have a great night.
Awesome. And on that note, I just want to give a big shout out to everybody out there in the audience that stuck around and watched. It's because of y'all that we do anything on here on the internet in the first place. Otherwise, we just basically talking to ourselves on the camera. So thank y'all. I know I didn't take the time to shout out folks that was out there like I normally do, but I wanted to put emphasis on the guest that was on tonight to share some of our experiences. We all have a little bit different perspective on the same topic of the Makersmatch, but all can agree that it was awesome and is helping bring the light to stuff. And for folks that, but like both of y'all on the bottom have had a little bit of experience beforehand, and both of us on top is new dudes, that the Makersmatch was our first foray into competitive shooting. And like we had mentioned, it being that perfect bridging the gap type of thing, I really look forward to it continuing, and I'm definitely going to do my part to help contribute to the next one and keep things moving forward. That's really the biggest thing we can do, is just tell as many folks as you can. All y'all out there that's watching, make sure y'all share this. Share it with your friends, share it on your own social medias and stuff. The more faces that it can get put in front of is going to open, make it less taboo and make it, get it out of that shadowy type of thing and into the norm, or like everyday type of situation that we feel like it should be, or that it already is to us. Let's make that the way it is to everybody.
Agreed.
We
And
do
on
have a
that-
responsibility. We do have a responsibility to do that, but we have to do it carefully.
Yep. That's one thing.
I hate to say it. There's a reason why that elitism kind of exists in professional and competitive shooting. They have to protect the integrity of it. So it's like, look, I'm all for everybody learning how to do it, but man, we get the one wrong moron and we're all fucked. I hate to say it, and I hate to be that guy that thinks like that, but this is reality, and I like to live in reality. So it's like kind of expect it, People suck.
Yep. I hear. And on that note, I'll let y'all. I'll say goodbye, and for y'all out there in the chat, thank y'all for coming, and y'all be good.
All right. Thanks so much.
Have a good one,
Hey,
guys.
y'all.
Great
Later.
talking to y'all. Thank you so much.
Stay strapped.